I'm joined now in this studio by our French politics editor, Mark Perelman. Mark, so people are being asked to gather in front of city halls and town halls. These are symbols of the French Republic. And a number of symbols of the French Republic have been attacked, set fire to during these riots. Can you tell us what's going on here?
Well, clearly there has been a shift. First of all, there was the shooting of this young Nahel, which really prompted what we saw in the last few days. But in the last couple of days, and since the attack on the home of the mayor of l'Haÿ-les-Roses, like a suburban town near Paris, where his wife and kids were at the time, and they were injured, this created a totally different narrative, whereby clearly politicians from all across the aisle are saying, you know, this is not acceptable. This has nothing to do with someone being shot to death. This is a totally different thing. And this has had, in a way, chilling effect probably on the protest, because, and even on the way the politicians have positioned themselves, because obviously saying that you're angry because a youngster was killed by the police is not the same thing as ramming a car with apparently some material inside to burn the house of a mayor who has nothing to do, by the way, with what happened, because he's the mayor of another city. So this obviously has probably had a chilling effect on the violence. We've seen less violence, although there's still instances of violence, and this probably also helps the government because it changes the narrative. There's a talk about now of defending the very symbols of the Republic. And the mayors are also, and according to all the polls, the most popular politicians, much more popular than president, than ministers, than MPs. And because they are there every day on the ground talking to people, dealing with very, very local issue, bread and butter issues. And so attacking them is something that's opposed by a vast majority of the French people.
These gatherings are called by the Association of Mayors in front of town halls, in front of city halls today, where numbers of people turned up. How significant do you think that is? Is it a turning point with ordinary people saying, we oppose this and we will stand up for our views?
This is unusual. Yes, clearly. But then from what we've seen, because it was today at noon Paris time, those have been small gatherings where you have mostly officials speaking, and it is you haven't had lots of people coming out to support the mayors. But it is unusual. And what's also unusual is that 220 of them are going to meet the French president at the Élysée. It doesn't happen very often. Emmanuel Macron is seen as rather distant with his ministers, with MPs, and even more so with mayors, because just to contextualize, there have been a number of instances before the recent events where mayors have been attacked. Just a few weeks ago, a mayor simply resigned because he couldn't take it anymore. And we're hearing mayors who are saying, I'm not going to run again. I mean, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't decide that I would spend my life protecting myself from violence. And the violence, we don't really know where it's coming from. Some are saying it's far left, some are saying it's far right, others are saying it's just gangsterism. It's very, very difficult, but the mayors feel under threat. And obviously, the police is very busy elsewhere. So there is a crisis. There is a security fear that you can really sense among the mayors. That's why they're ringing the alarm. But there's also a concern for, should mayors really run for office if this means being under threat? And so this is really a new phenomenon that we're witnessing here in France.
Okay. Thanks very much, Mark Perelman there, our French politics editor.